Hey, good morning, folks. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games and I illustrate them. And we're doing artwork for a book that we're going to be publishing called Crystals in a Bar. It's an adventure for characters in the Eberron campaign world using Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 2024 rules. Give me a second here. I'm going to check in on my signal and make sure my sound balance sounds good. And I got some quick posts to do. My signal and make sure my sound balance sounds good. And that sounds pretty crisp. I'm happy with that in general. Okay, we'll drop that volume down there so it doesn't get in our way. I just need to grab some real quick social media posts here. It takes less than a minute. You can, if you're catching this in the future, you can jump ahead after the bump. But otherwise. Yeah, I've been running Dungeons and Dragons games since 1987, and I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999. I've been an Eberron enthusiast since 2004, and I've been creating content for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition on the DMsGuild since 2018. And I haven't done anything specifically for Eberron yet, nor have I actually published an adventure before. So this is me consolidating that bucket list. If you're still around, God bless you. And if you think this stuff over the course of the episode, if you think it's fun, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Here's a stack of books that I've already created on DMsGuild. They all have free previews. Be welcome to check that stuff out if you think it's cool. Be welcome to ask me anything. My Discord server is down below, free access for anybody that wants to kick in and either play test some of the content that I'm going to be publishing, or just to implement stuff. Be welcome to ask me anything. This book cover we made around episode 40. We're currently on episode 584. I suspect we're going to be done probably in. I suspect December. I'd like to be done in November with the entire project and move on to the next thing, but I'm not sure if I'll get it done in that time. So we're doing a bunch of illustrations. This one here, this is a forest for the Eldeen Reaches. When it's actually done, we'll have a druid at a divining pool in the foreground, but it isn't necessary right now for that character. I want to create a composition without the character that looks cool on its own, and then insert him. This is the 16 by 9 format we're using for the PDF document. So if you're on a tablet or a normal widescreen desktop or your phone, the 16 by 9 format fits the format of the 16 by 9 ratio, both horizontally for a full page, and each column is also 16 by 9 vertically. And the entire book is designed to have all the information is broken down per column, so you can absorb the adventure column by column in a read through, and it's going to be hyperlinked like crazy to make it easy to navigate if you're going to run this adventure for your D&D team. It's built to make it easy for you to find where you need to go and get the information that you need during the course of the adventure to make it flow smoothly. So Eldeen Reaches, that's mid-Corvair. Corvair is the continent where humans live in relative freedom in the Eberron world. And so Eldeen Reaches is where the Gatekeeper Druids are at, who give a quest for the characters to go on an adventure. So we're just doing a landscape scene a la Bob Ross. Today we are going to be continuing to move forward with, we're working on highlighting on the ground, so I'm going to grab this brush. We're going to grab our, one second, there we go. We're going to grab our, this is a brush I made for grass. Let's see. Hold on, I'm figuring out where I'm at in the document. hold on. There we are. Okay, and we got that color. I can blip this out. That 30% means I'm using 30% strength on the brush, which is like this. I can stack it in, and it's a highlight. So I can come over here and I can highlight the ground. And bring down the brush. So we're just going to do some stippling. If you caught us last episode, you saw that we were stippling like crazy as well. Stippling is a pretty major component to any kind of Bob Ross painting. I'm going to take this and drop this down to a 20% strength. So when I erase, it's only taking away 20% of the pixel information at a time. Make it easy for us to do gradients and fades. Like that. I'm going to just tap some of that in here and then erase that a little bit to get this hill effect going on. And then I want to have this flatten out down in here and erase some of this. I don't have to go too hard on the highlights down in here. It is a forest floor. I need to get this out of the way. There we go. And this is the literal groundwork that we're going to then build shrubbery on top of. So for now, I'm just adding in highlights here just to, like I said, create some shape and topography. I feel like I'm locked up here. What the deuce is going on? Oh, it's a furf. Yeah, okay. We'll conceal. I was on the wrong layer again. All right, straighten up and fly right, Kearney. There we go. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I am at. There we go. All right, life makes sense again. Sorry, technical issues. It's user error, as usual. I'm gonna just put some little sunlight up in here, drop down the size of that brush, erase that a little bit just to blend it in. Now I want to work back forward so I can overlap and layer these things in so they look natural. And if I erase the bottom of them and leave the top intact, it creates a neat little highlight effect for individual blades of grass. A little meticulous and kind of OCD, but I think the end result looks really nice. And I have to, this is a more intense pixeling process, like all the stippling is a lot more precise than, because they're brushes and they aren't adaptable, they don't have the same like literally the same flexibility that the brushes that Bob Ross would use when he's doing grass. So we have to create a shape of a brush that will mostly work for us, because we can't deform, like it can't be deformed by too much by the angle of our brush or the it doesn't have hair brushes that are going to bend differently when I tap in at an angle. It's a fixed shape. So I have to create brushes that are the shapes are curved enough to be able to accommodate. Let's get some of that in here like that. To be adaptable, to shift around, to be able to move. And so that's what we're currently doing, is utilizing these brushes that we made to adapt into the space and simulate the grass. I'll drop that down a little bit there, and then drop in a point like this. There, that feels good. So I don't have to do a lot. It doesn't have to be crazy. I just want some variance in here to be able to show shape, just like a curved linear, like a curved shape, just like a, like a sphere or a cylinder. I just want to have some curve in here to demonstrate elevation shifts and the rolling factor of the land. Like this, I feel like I can afford to chop at this a little bit. Just to get that under control a little bit. It was looking a little too pixely for me. Yeah, that feels pretty good. All right, cool. Let's get back on point. We're good over here. We're now moving over to here, so let's make this good. Pour in some of that. Scrape it down a little. Once we finish the grass, we can start layering shrubbery and rocks and stuff like that, forest floor stuff over the grass, because the grass is kind of bonding the trees to the forest. The ground is helping resolve the roots for the trees, and then the shrubbery and rocks and debris and stuff will help just make it breathe a little bit more life. And a lot of that's going to end up being concealed by the druid and the vision well, but that's okay. We're making a piece that doesn't need to have the druids in them, and then we add the druid in. And it should, I don't think the druid is going to strengthen the piece, but the druid is what the piece is about. I'm just making this environment piece because I love doing environment pieces. Even though most of it's going to get covered up by text, I still love doing it. I can still put it out there for folks to pick up if they're interested in having it. There we go. And then bring this down a bit. So I have to break it up so it doesn't look like lines. If it looks like lines, then it makes your eye think about the lines and the brush strokes instead of what the brush is attempting to create, which is a forest scene. So if I'm focusing on the shape of the brushes or brush marks and stuff, I'm not actually pulling you into the fantasy of the illustration. So I have to be mindful of that. I'm just about happy with where this is at. I'm wanting to leave these patches open to see what just manifests and wants to fill that space. Just doing some spot fixes here. That feels fun. Let's do some of that. There we go. That feels good. Like that. There we go. And then let's fill this in so the topography makes sense. That feels pretty good. Let's go back to here and let's grab some of this darkness. I want to add in some of this here, just to get rid of the ripple effect that we have going on. I want to reduce these ripples. Some of that a little bit just to curve it off. Nice. That feels good. Up in here and just dot some more of this in here like that. That feels pretty good. And then down in here a little, just to give that a little bit of a path, a shape. Nice. There, and I'm going to switch it up again, and we're going to go back in here. I'm going to fill in some of this a little bit more. And then we're probably going to be done. Yeah, that feels good. Okay, cool. So I'm pretty happy with the grass and the environment, and we'll be able to continue to come back and nurse this a little bit. But for now, I think, I think it's in a solid enough state that we can start adding in some shrubbery. Sorry, just doing some quick spot fixes here, little spots that are pointing out. I'm gonna get a little bit rid of the ripple. There we go. And then blend that in a little bit here. There we go. That feels pretty good. Okay, cool. I like these bare spots here. I think it adds some variety. I'm gonna erase this down a little bit. It just feels a little too sharp. So I'm just gonna, yeah, just to dull that down a smidge. Okay, that feels good. So let's, I'm just gonna call this, we're gonna call this grass, ground, tarmac, tarmac. Let's see, this is a shrub. Sorry, thinking things through. Looking at placement and stuff. Okay, so what I want to do is go back into, we have some reference images here. Since I don't see color, I always use my color references off of images that I see, that I grab off of the internet. And this doesn't have the kind of look that I want. So we're going to go into, here real quick, let's go for forest shrubbery. And see if I can find something I like. Maybe something like this. Let's copy this image and see if I like it. So going up here to the references and then copy image. Being a bitch. Open image in a new tab. Oh, God damn it. Why did you download Pexels? Can I copy this image, please? Thank you. What a pain in the tuchus. Holy Hannah. Websites are making it difficult to extract stuff. How's our color looking on this? That's pretty good. I like that. I think that's a good green right there. And then let's grab a more of a highlighty color. Something mid. That's a little too sharp. That's a lot of saturation compared to the rest. So I'm gonna actually knock this down a tig or two. That feels pretty good. Yeah, let's do like that, but let's push this up a bit. So when you see this triangle, that means it's not a natural color, which is funny because it's an illustration of a forest. It's a photo of a forest, so it seems weird that it wouldn't be natural. But whatever, I'm gonna drop that away for now, and we'll plop back up into here, and we're going to, we're going to use this general, it's called the foliage texture brush. This brush set is currently free on my Patreon, and my Patreon is linked down below. So if you're interested in digital techniques for painting landscapes like this, be welcome to grab the tools and play along. So I'm using like Bob. I use the layering of dark underneath and then lighter highlights above it, because that's how the law of light works. So it makes sense that we would emulate that. I'm going to pull this up to 100%. We're just going to put some... You know what? I'm going to take a block like this and take a block like this, and then I'm going to go fetch it. I want a darker color. So let's go back to our references. That feels pretty good, I think. It's almost the same, but I think it'll work out. Yeah, that does feel a little bit better. Still a little light, but yeah, it is a little light. I'm not content with that. Let's bring it down a little bit more. Like that. Yeah, that should be good. That should be good. So right now we're just dotting in foliage. We're just filling space with chaotic shapes. This brush here, every time I step on it, it changes the size and changes the angle. So if I just do a bunch of stippling, it creates a big fluffy mess. And that's what we want for our shrubbery. We want to make a big fluffy mess, and then we'll sculpt it into shapes that we want. So hold on here, I'm just fixing my screen. There we go. So foliage, skips, and then we can take the same sort of brush with our erasing tool, and we can erase at the base of this to help sculpt it to fit the contours of the mound that it's on. So, and I can push and shape this like this a little bit. I can drop the size in general so that the average size will drop. So that's decent like that. I'm gonna cut and then paste and then hide. I'm gonna go shrub. Those are my shrub colors. Drop back down here. And let's, I like this gap here, but I also like the idea of stuffing a shrub in here. Hold on. I've lost the tree. There it is. Okay, we're good now. We're good. This should... yeah, this shouldn't. I'm having a blocking issue. Give me a second. I'm gonna put that back into effect. I'll have to do something like this, like to carve out that tree that tree trunk. But for now, I think we're gonna leave it concealed. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna drop this in here. You know what? No, I don't think I want to do that. I want to leave this open as a pathway. But I can put some foliage here. Just blocking in some foliage, just blocking it in. This stuff over here. I feel like should be here. Behind this tree. This also feels like... Yep, wait. Get rid of that. No, you know what? I feel like I should probably leave that open. But I can block in back here. There we go. Aha, that feels pretty good. That actually feels really, really good. I like that a lot. Not bad. And we can go here to the foreground and dot some of this foliage here into the front. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Yeah, I think I like that. Just gonna tap at this a little bit, just with a lower opacity eraser, just to reveal a little bit of the trunk, the roots, without destroying the structure of the foliage overall. Just to fade it in a little bit. That feels pretty good. Yeah, so I think the next thing I'm going to need to do is that. Now I'll go with you where you're at. You. Okay, what I need to do is I need to darken down this tree down in this area here where the sunlight isn't hitting it. So I'm just doing I'm just blocking this in. It's not going to be dark enough. That should be good. And that's going to be too dark, but I can lighten this. So let's lighten it a smidge. Yeah, something like that. That feels pretty good. Let's do that. Something like that. That should work. There we go. Okay, I'm happy with that. Happy with it for now anyway. So we'll conceal that up. We'll go back down here. We're going to do the same thing with this tree here. And this one's going to get dropped down to 75% as well. What happened to my screen? Thank you. Just to get rid of some of that. Dig that in. I'm going to fade it so it curves around a little bit. I'm going to darken that up a smidge here, just to be consistent. Let's straighten that up here. There we go. That feels pretty good. Let's go back up top. %, very good. And now we're going to put in some ultra dark here for the better save. Photoshop 25 is not as stable as 24. Not at all. The tools lock up occasionally, and it doesn't acknowledge that I'm switching between tools as fast as I used to be able to. It's yeah, 25 is not an improvement. There we go. Do like how that sits. There we go. Okay, that feels good. Dunzo there. Stitch those shut. Now we can go back to this. I can blend that in. Hey, what's going on, Defected? It's good to see you, my guy. So I've been running a play test. Yeah, hell yeah, shrubbery. I've been running a play test for a martial mana system, you know, we were calling Martial Powers in homage to the 4th edition and 3rd edition Tome of Battle. And so I've been running that on my Discord server on Saturday mornings since, I want to say, June. And we went from level 3 to 9, which gave us access to 1st, 2nd, 3rd rank powers, or 1st, 2nd, 3rd level spells that you would use in half-casters in D&D. And it was a mega dungeon. It went well, but I am now going to basically recalibrate the mechanics that we had built to make sure that that they're not going to break the system. There's some stuff that's too powerful that we need to scale down, and I think I have ways to do that without having to trash like trash specific powers, or have to do like a major redesign. So that should go well. But since I'm not playtesting while I go through that process, I'm going to be streaming on Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon East time. And yeah, I like how this looks. Let's fill this in a little bit more here. I think this area over here is going to get covered by a tree, like a foreground tree. But I want this fluffage all throughout here. Creates these neat little pathways for us to play with. Let's fill this in a little bit more. There we go. That's good enough for now. We were talking about creating frameworks and how to pull the eye from one direction to another. Foliage foreground like this, it's creating this natural curve shape here that's going to allow the eye to get bent back around. Kind of like how these branches here is creating this negative space, this circle here. All these little gaps between the tree where light's coming through, those are technically resting points for your eye, because there's not a lot of information happening in these areas. And this foliage up here just kind of all washes together after a little while. So like I was talking about before, what we'll ultimately be doing is like dropping in like a tree somewhere here like this, and probably another tree over here like something like this, and then we'll have branching as trees do. We'll have branches like this, and that'll create more, and then I can have more shrubbery here in the foreground potentially. Or if we go back to our druid and the well, that can end up being like that. But without them being in the piece, it's still interesting. So like that I don't think that's specifically where the trees are going to be, but that's an example of it. Like we're creating frames within frames within frames within frames that gives your eye the ability to, like, I can see the circle here, I can look into that like through that window of objects to see what's beyond there. And it creates a fun little effect. So I don't necessarily think that's how the trees should be. But this is where we're at right now. So I'm just talking through the process. Just talking through it. This might actually be a little more aggressive than I want. Let's put a 0 on that and drop some of this away here for now. You know what, actually, I'm just going to see how much I can just undo. I think I got a little ahead of myself there. Just going to undo, do. And I ran out of undo. Hey, Timely Timers keeps it going. Oh, this feels good. I like this. And drop that in there. And then we'll do highlights here and sticks and stuff in a minute. I just want to get this one filled in. That feels pretty good. Fill this in, and then I'm going to erase the bottom of it with a faded, with a 30% 20% opacity eraser, just to blend its butt down into the surface. There we go, like that. That feels good. Like that. That feels good. Yeah, a neat little environment. I'm pretty happy with how this thing's shaping up. What's up? They call those desire paths. Oh, fun. Or the desire. I did not know that. Which generally means those paths are the desired paths to take towards the nearest most common destination. Cities or towns are sometimes designed based off of these desired paths. Oh, that's really cool. Right on. I always just think of them as like deer trails. Like desired paths where it's like natural splits in the terrain that makes it easier to navigate through without getting snarled, like antlers and shit getting caught up in branches and stuff. They want those pathways. The more you know. Right on, my man. I appreciate it. I think we're both sharing insights here. Yeah, we call them deer trails in Missouri. I am really looking forward to tonight when we're designing an Eberron Spelljammer campaign to test the kaiju and construct mechanics that we've been developing for basically mecha combat in D&D, and obviously Spelljammer is the perfect an Eberron Spelljammer campaign is the perfect place to have Warforged mecha fighting giant monsters. It's perfect. So, 1 second. No, I'm gonna leave that just where it's at. I think I'm happy with that arrangement in general. Let's check my saturation levels here. Yeah, it's a little less saturated. The dark over here is less saturated than the dark up here, and I think that's appropriate. That feels pretty good. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, cool. So let's go back and grab our colors again. I think I want to use the mid-tone right now, and then we're going to do the highlights with a different type of brush. So what we'll do now is knock it off. Let's get back down into the shrubbery. There we go. I'm going to conceal this one for now and just work with this one here. We're going to use the same brush. I'm going to do a slightly smaller brush size. And we're using the same brush, the same scatter techniques, but a slightly lighter colored pigment. Whoa, I need to definitely do it on a separate layer though. This is going to add a little bit of depth to the shrubbery, and I'm erasing at it to create these little. Here, I'll drop down here. You can see this is like really easy to make foliage using these brushes like that. The automatic spin feature that it has on it and the resizing jitter. It allows it to create a lot of interesting shapes, and when I couple it with the eraser, it makes all sorts of really interesting holes and patterns in the shape. And let's get my eraser working there. There we go. It does a pretty good job overlapping the shadow, and the shadow feels slightly separated from these mid-tone highlights that I'm using. It's a really quick, easy way to be able to create shapes. And bushes are basically like spheres, cylinders, and cones as well. They're generally curved, so you catch the light from multiple angles, so you can have this like doming effect, and it makes sense for the foliage. Like this little curve effect here. Curve it down. I'm just stippling. I'm just stippling and erasing with stipples as well. Push that back a little bit. And then under here, I can come in and I can erase that a little bit. Yeah, that feels good. Sabe. I don't use brushes generally with my style, but one day soon I may pick that up from you and do some experimenting. Yeah, you're certainly welcome to. Yeah, I get it, because you do pixel art. So, I mean, like, what else do you need? You just need squares. So, I mean, the right tool for the job, right? So, if I was doing pixel art, I wouldn't be doing this at all. This would be this would be a ridiculous way to attempt to do pixel art, because it's too organic. But yeah, just slinging paint and just making up little landscapes. It's yeah, you have a fun little brush set. It's easy to do. And now I'm going to grab to the foreground here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to dust some of this in here. I'm going to erase at it. But this is I created this brush based off of Bob Ross shrubbery. I would pause his videos on YouTube and then take a picture, like you do a dab, like for the first splash on a brush, and then he pulled the paintbrush away, and I'd pause it, grab the image, hyperpolarize it so it was black and white, and then break down the shape a little bit. And so this is roughly like a splotch, a dab of a paintbrush that I created into a digital brush. It's transformative, so it's not copyright infringement. That's literally how and I'm using a reduced opacity here so I can create since this is a more pronounced area of the shrubbery, like more foreground, I want to use more complicated lighting techniques. So I'm using a 30%, 20% opacity to again make this like this curving effect. Layers of light and dark inside of here, and I can just drop this in here like this, erase it that. Really, really easy to be able to create these layering shapes here. Very fast foliage. The grass takes a lot longer than the shrubbery does. In the final illustration, it doesn't matter if this gets covered up by the divining pool, but I want it to look good on its own without the druid and the scene being in here. I want the scenery without the scene. Yeah, that feels good. Let's do that. No, that feels good. Back that up a bit. here like that.
I forget sometimes the more you know for pixel art these days than hand drawn, but I could experiment with
yeah, the brushes are it's just an ABS file, so it should work with everything. Let's layer this in here. Darken that up because of the shape of the bush, blocking light. So that's spilling there. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Pretty good. There we go, like that. That feels really nice. That feels really good. Just wherever it feels right, I just toss in a little bit of pepper. It's more, it's kind of just like floral arrangement, you know? Like wherever it feels right, wherever you can fill in the gap a little bit to create some interest. That's what we want to do.
Do paper, pen, paint, canvas, more acrylic. Oh, right on. I admire acrylics. Sculpting and designing is something, dude.
Hell yeah, man. Can relate. There, that actually feels pretty good for now. Let's do over here. Erase this down a little bit here just to blend it in. I don't know if I like this bush here. I don't think I do. I think I do not like this. If I decide I need a foreground brush like this or a bush like this, then I will eventually add it in. But for now, I don't think this is serving me as well as it could. So I'm going to erase that. Let's go back to dark. I used the wrong color. Yeah, let's just do like that a little bit. I think that feels better. Erase that a little bit. There. Fade that in a little. Yeah, I like how this is coming along. It's pretty cool. Back here. No, back here. This needs more elevation. Wrong color.
There, that feels better. Like that. Not bad. I see text. Give me a second. There. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There is a big crossover between tabletop RPG and video games. Obviously. Still have my long hair. I'd see. I got myself right on, man. Cheers to that. That and this, I feel like must be there. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, I like that. So this is all looking pretty good. So I think the next thing I want to do is, I don't know about that tree though. Let's go back. Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to desaturate that, drop the opacity a little bit. I like it being there though. Okay, so the next thing that we can do is some highlights. So let's go back into the colors that we picked out. Nope. Here. And this is our highlight color. But I'm not going to leave it at that full intensity. That's too sharp. So when I use the brush, I'm going to only use 30%. And let's see if we can dust some highlights onto the... Come on, man. Give me the... Well, let's go with 60%. And then we continue erasing at 30%. I bet this is going to work out. Creates these little pops, like just, there you go. See, it's a little bit of light coming through. It livens it up a little bit. And I think it helps connect to the shrubbery up top. I might end up darkening up some of this foliage up here. We'll see. We'll see what the foreground trees canopy does before I make that commitment. But I could see me reworking the foliage up top, or just developing it further. It probably just needs more noise. little bit over here as well. Yeah, color saturation is the next thing that I'm overcoming. If I break down all the elements of color into individual components and then I work on each individual component in time, I'll be able to up the quality of my game of color work, despite not being able to see it. So saturation is something that I'm currently trying to pay attention to. And after I'm strong with saturation, then I can start working on temperature, like making sure that the shadow is like a colder feeling color than like where the highlights are at. And that's complicated for me. That's very complicated. So I don't mind taking the time that I need to break down all the elements and just figure them out slowly over time, and I'll get there. But I think saturation and temperature are the last two things I really need to hone in on for my illustrations to really just kind of up their game. And obviously, like the line art and the composition and placement and layering, these are all things that naturally evolve over time along with it. But if I can identify individual elements, it makes it easier for me to workshop those elements specifically. So there. See, that's feeling pretty good. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I hope my insights are... They do. Your insights are absolutely helpful. There's I've had a number of people over time that have come through and basically spotted, like, hey, that color looks weird. I don't know if you chose that one on purpose, or like just like general spot checking, just checking my shit. And as I get better and better, I need less. I need less hand holding, but it's never obnoxious, and it's always appreciated. Because if I am missing something, I don't know I'm missing it. Not bad. I want to make a super desaturated version of this. Let's ungroup. Where am I at? What am I trying to do? Right. Trees. So now I have the midline trees. Now we have the back trees. And in front of the back trees, Just another layer of shrubbery to help lock everything in. It feels pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. I'm just looking at stuff right now. Why did you do that? Thank you. Okay. Next up, let's take the old chisel. Let's drop this way down here like that. Eraser. I think I'm just gonna carve some twigs into here. I'm just looking to see where anything's just kind of naturally aligning that allows me to add in some branches and twigs and stuff like this. And then we're going to erase some of it so it dots through the foliage instead of overlays it. But the first thing I want to do is make sure that I get the structure in place correctly. There, now I'm going to take the same brush that we've been using for erasing, and I just dot, 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 dot. See how it breaks it up? It folds it into the foliage, and then I can do the same underneath here because I don't have to show it going into the ground necessarily. I just need to see it poking through. Feels good. And then we'll come back over here and we'll do the same over here. Wherever it feels right, we'll drop a branch in. Like here. What's up? Do you make a brush for his thin liner? I see you use the knife brush, which he used to do for the squiggly lines. He grabs the line brush, right? Yeah, I'll just use a small round brush. The only reason I'm using this ultra thin chisel is because I know it's just going to be straight lines that are branching. And that's generally how branches work. Is just a series of basically straight lines branching off of each other. Not to be too punny. I'm going to grab this, free transform, and then break its angle. There we go. But for like liners, yeah, I'll just use a really small straight round brush, because that allows me a lot of curvature control. Very I only have like 16 brushes in the set to do all the paintings that I do. Occasionally I'll make I have a square brush, a round brush, all these curved shapes. Grab that. I'm gonna again dot at the eraser here to blend this thing in. Yeah, I'm going to back it off to 85% just to quell it a little bit so it doesn't pop so much. Because it's very dark. The dark is overtaking the shadows in the shrubbery, so I needed to back down. Actually, probably down to 75% will probably be good. Yeah, that way you can see it, but it doesn't overbear. It's not overbearing. If you use the knife for that, it just makes me think about the line brush. So I was curious. Yeah. Absolutely, of course. Let's put one in here. Here. Super fun and easy to do. It's neat when like this little bit now just came forward because it's in front of this branch back here. Like it's just fun seeing these little things pop out. Absolutely love that. That feels good. Push these things out like that. Dot, dot, dot. Sometimes I use a highlight color for the twigs and branches. Sometimes I use shadow. This particular piece, I wanted to darken it a bit, so I'm using shadow just to add more dark mass. Subtle, but they're choices. How are we doing on time? 7:47. I've got about 5 minutes left. I think I see some text. What's up? I have to imagine when you imagine things or read books, you see actual images in your head.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's just there's just no color information. It's color is just something I don't even contemplate. But yeah, I have very vivid dreams. Occasionally they're lucid, very rarely. And on very rare occasions I feel like I'm astral projecting. But that doesn't have, that's very far and in between. Just increasing the information, the amount of twig information in here. Just buffing it out. I'm about at the point where I want to do like little twigs and scrubbing stuff on the ground, like little rocks and shit. Almost there. Let's just eat this up a little bit. There we go. So far, so good. A little bit of terrain over here, a little bit of rockiness over here, some little stumps over here, just incidental stuff. I feel like I want to rework the branches or the. I feel like I want to rework the foliage. I'm liking the language down here on the ground a lot more than the tree foliage. Let me see what I can. What if I were to take? So I'm just gonna fuck around for a few minutes. We're almost out of time for the day, so I may as well just play around a little bit. Yeah, it's so pale. Let me use this brush. I can potentially preserve all of the highlight layering that I've done for these and just add in another layer of darkness like this to help deepen it. But I might just have to redo the whole thing. My phone just literally. Tree distances just need a little more saturation in the undersides of the patches. Am I in the right saturation range? Did I instinctively pick the right one, or do you think I'm off a little bit? What's my timer? Oh, good. I'm getting pretty good at it. I've been working in color. People have been paying me to paint in color for about 15, 18 years. So I think I've got a pretty decent beat on it, but I'm also, I remain hyper vigilant that I could be fucking up at any time.
So I really have to check my P's and Q's. And the color saturation thing, it's the saturation increases. The more division there is between like the RGB, the more separation there is, the more saturation there is. The more it's flat vertically, the more gray tone it becomes, the less saturated it is. So I'm getting decent at being able to gauge like how far do I need to push the prominent color to be able to increase the saturation. That's really just the trick. Like I want to have green, a dark green, so I had to fidget the green around inside that space a little bit to be able to hit it correctly. So I'm figuring it out. I'll get there. And with God's grace, I'll have another 20 some odd years to mess around with this and get really good. I'm gonna desaturate even more by doing some subtle erasing the further out towards the edge of the page we get, just to make sure that the eye wants to remain. You color eyes are going to want to remain focused in the middle, where there's more saturation, more contrast. And I still have the foreground trees to drop in. Hell yeah, man! Thank you. I appreciate the I appreciate the honest critique, and calling out things and asking questions. It's your great asset, and I can only appreciate it. I am technically out of time. And this is Thursday, so when we come back tomorrow, I think I'm going to... Yeah, that feels a little bit better. I'm going to drop the opacity a bit, just like down to 30%, 20%, and just tap at this stuff a little bit just to take some of the edge off. That already feels like this is already feeling like it matches up down there a little bit better. So I'm pretty happy with that. It's not my best piece. I know that. By far it's not my best piece, but I'm happy with it. Sabe. Yeah, I'm just going to be stepping out here in just a hot second. So I'll be back on tonight, probably like around 6:30, which will be about 10 and a half hours from now. We're going to continue working on the Spelljammer Eberron campaign. I'm really messing around with the moon distances from the planet and where the little belts of asteroid clusters are at. That will be the focus of the campaign. And then tomorrow morning we'll be back doing this, and then Saturday morning we're going to begin doing the revamp of the Martial Power System that we've been playtesting on my Discord for the past year. It's time to update it to smooth the system in a little bit more. So I'll be spending time on Saturday doing that for anyone who wants to step in. Then Monday morning we'll continue doing artwork, and then Monday night we'll continue working on the Spelljammer campaign again. And that'll keep us entertained until the Faroon book is available on DMs on D&D Beyond without requiring pre-purchase bundles, because I don't like buying books. I can't read them well because I got crap vision, and they take up too much space. I like to be Spartan. Let's erase into that, and okay, I think we're okay for now. Just gonna keep wearing away at the edges here a little bit just to bring that down. Yeah, I think once we add in the foreground trees and some more foliage, I think this cluster of leaf information back here will make a lot more sense. So I think will help stabilize the whole piece. I'm really liking where it's at. I'm enjoying it. So foreground trees tomorrow and some ground scrub to help build out all the framing on stuff, and then on Monday we'll start filling in the details for the druid and the divining well that he's at. He has to stay in this specific position because of the rest of the illustration. So, and again, this is all we're going to see of all the stuff that we're doing here. This is all we get of the painting, and technically, this is probably fine as far as like background stuff being blocked off. Like, this is good information. I could start working on the druid and the divining well now if I wanted to, but for the sake of the composition overall, and not having the druid and the divining pool in, I want this to be just a good landscape painting unto itself. So we're going to keep developing this, finish off the foreground. We could probably get through the foreground tomorrow, and then on Monday start working on the druid and the divining well integrated into the piece. But man, this is fun. I love doing this stuff. The landscapes are just my absolute favorite. When we finish the Eberron book, before we start in on the next book, I suspect I'm going to do a palette cleanser with one or two different landscape pictures. I've been grabbing stuff online, and I think I have a commission that to do some crows in a tree. I'm waiting for more details on that, but we'll be working on that soon as well. So that's it for now, guys. Thanks to everybody that's been lurking, and Defective Man, thanks a lot for hanging out with me and wingmanning my art. I appreciate it. And everyone else, I'm here a lot, so like and subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to see more of this stuff and just to talk shop. I will see everybody in about 10.5 hours. Cheers.